Every time I come to Macau, I am greeted by this incredible looking futuristic skyline. However, this skyline that you see behind me is not Macau. This is Hengqin, one of China's boldest urban experiments. Some YouTubers are calling this area a ghost town, an area propped up by government subsidies with no real economic future. However, I myself have never been to this area before, so in today's video, I'm heading across the border to see what's really going on in this new Chinese city. Across the water is Hengqin, China's bet on Macau's future. In 2009, Beijing approved Hengqin as a new development zone to give Macau the space it never had and to pilot preferential policies. In 2021, it became the Guangdong-Macao in-depth cooperation zone, with a clear mission: help Macau diversify beyond the gambling industry into high-end manufacturing, finance, cultural tourism, and traditional Chinese medicine. To make that integration real, the 24-hour Hengqin port opened in 2020, built to handle huge flows of people and goods under a tiered customs system. With such a bold plan envisioned and put into place over the last 15 years, why do some call it a ghost town? This is what I'm here to find out. Right as you exit the port into the mainland side, you are surrounded with some very impressive buildings. Seems like a few of these are still under construction. It's kind of hard to tell at night. Right behind me, there is a European-looking building. I'm not too sure what that building is. This building that sits just beside the Macau-China border is the Lisboeta Hengqin Plaza and is a Macau-style shopping and dining complex. This complex was designed to mirror the Portuguese European architectural styles, giving visitors a familiar Macau atmosphere even after crossing into Zhuhai. For those who don't know, Macau was once a Portuguese colony. Throughout Macau, you'll find an abundance of Portuguese influence. Think pastel-colored buildings, cobblestone streets, and those famous Portuguese egg tarts. For centuries, this little city was Europe's foothold in Asia. Today, it's China that's building on this land, carrying forward some of that old Macau charm, but with a very different vision for the future. I'll come back to this town and explore a little bit more tomorrow. It's getting kind of late and I want to eat before things start to close on me. So I've literally just picked the busiest restaurant here, and I think I'm just going to order 2 dishes and hopefully I can eat all of it. 我要一个湖南小炒肉，然后酸辣土豆丝。 So I will say my initial impressions, it's not nearly as busy as other parts of Zhuhai that I've been to. But even though it's not as busy so far, it's not giving me ghost town vibes yet. Hunan food is known to be quite spicy. This dish is basically just pork belly mixed with chili peppers. Luckily though, it's actually not too bad. It has a little bit of a kick to it, but I guess these peppers are not the spiciest. I wonder if I can just eat one of these and not die. It's like slightly more spicy than your bell pepper. On the right over here, we have more of a classic dish. This is a sour, spicy potato strips. Basically, they're just like shredded potatoes, kind of like long hash browns. Now, this dish actually has these smaller chili peppers in it, so it's actually even spicier than the spicy pork dish. Okay, this is one of the funniest hotels I've ever stayed in China. Basically, this resort hotel is like a glamping resort, and a bird. It's just a bird. So basically, this hotel is sort of like a glamping hotel, and you can rent like individual cabins, which is exactly what I have done here. Oh, there are so many bugs over here, though. That's the one downside of this. Okay, I like this. This is a very interesting hotel. This is really not something that I would expect in China. With all the wood furniture, the wood walls, wood ceiling, like it really feels a lot like a cabin, you know? It even has sort of like a rustic scent to it. I like it. I can't help but think how incredible of a stay this is. Like right now, I don't even feel like I'm in China. I feel like I'm back in the US at my own cabin right now. I mean, I guess, sure, if you come out here onto the balcony of the hotel room, it definitely has a way more tropical vibe than what you would find in like a mountainous town in the US. But it's honestly still such a cool experience being out here. This resort here actually has a variety of different types of cabins that you can stay in. They all have various prices. The one I booked was like 70 USD per night. So it was a little bit on the more expensive side for China, but I think the experience totally makes it worth it. And when you come here, you don't only get a room, there are so many other amenities that this hotel offers that we are going to go check out right now. The RVs that they have here are also bookable. I think those ones were a little bit more expensive, like 80 USD a night. This camping resort is known as the Sumlo Dal Hotel. And if you are interested in staying here, check out the link in the description below. If you book this hotel through trip.com, you can get a complimentary hotel breakfast, as well as some other tickets to various activities around the hotel. One activity I gained access to was a fruit and vegetable picking experience at a neighboring farm.
往后期才长成萝卜呢。
那
哎呀，哈哈。
Okay.
这个大，这个还要不要？
不要，太多了。They've got a lot of different fruits out here, like these papayas.
没有农药，没有化肥。
我打一个。
带一个是吗？
对，
你吃的这味道，你在超市买不着这个。
长的，给你拿长的。
好好好。
我一看它大才摘的。
Before I head out, they have a small park in the back of the hotel. The tickets on trip.com also include admission to this 乐园. It's kind of just like a small amusement park, to be honest. I think it's more suited towards younger kids, but I'll come check it out for you guys and post it. Hello.
OK 啦。
OK 了。
好，那我们刷脸就好啦。
OK。
可以啦，请进，您往前走啊。
Once I entered this children's park, the thing that hit me the most was how empty it was. There were so many attractions in here, like this artificial beach, this massive castle, water parks, yet there wasn't a single person in sight. 哎，这里晚上会有很多人来玩吗？
这个只有周末人多点，周二周五上班上学，基本上人不会太多。啊，对，是啊。
Okay.
对。
Guys, this is kind of ridiculous. I kind of get the ghost town vibes now. This place is just deserted. I mean, I guess, yeah, it's a weekday, it's a school day. Not many people will come out here. But like, man, this is empty. So I came to Zhuhai because I watched China Observer's video and I wanted to prove him wrong. You know, I wanted to come here and say, this place, it's not a ghost town, but honestly, it kind of is. Like, don't get me wrong, this area is super nice. Everything is super modern, super clean. It feels a lot like in Japan, the area we stayed in, Toyosu, I think. It has a very similar vibe to that area. Like everything was like kind of brand new. I guess the only thing is that there are way less people over here. Oh, shoot. I'm trying to find a bike. If I can see if I stuff my backpack in this child seat. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit. I might just have to carry this on me on the bike today. Anyway, I'm kind of thinking what I'm going to do is just take one of these bikes out here and just sort of explore this area a little bit more and see if there's anything else interesting to see. It's such a new area that, you know, there's not a whole lot on the maps or on Chinese social media about this place. So yeah, I just want to go probably down there to the end of the island and then probably cycle back towards the Macau border and then see where we go from there. So I'm just about to reach the end of this island. Looks like at the end of the island they have this cycling or walking path where you can look out and see other parts of Zhuhai. Honestly, everything over here is completely brand new, probably built only within the last couple years. The roads, the architecture. China is known to do this with their cities. I think even areas in Shenzhen 10 years ago, people were saying, oh, it's a ghost city, nobody's here. But then you visit these spots today, and they are some of the busiest hotspots in all of China. So maybe right now what we are witnessing instead is China's city planning in action. Basically, all of the future necessary infrastructure to have a smart city is being built right here. That city center that I pointed out in the distance, I just rode up to it, and you can't go into it yet. The whole thing, a whole city over there is under construction. There's no roads, at least from where I am, there's no roads going into it yet. It's a dirt road, only construction vehicles are going in. Tons of brand new buildings. I would say give it maybe a year or two and that area will probably be opened. I've also ridden through another business area over here, and it's not completely abandoned, no. There are quite a few businesses, quite a few employees that were walking around, probably heading off to lunch. Rode past a couple different high-end factories. It really is an impressive area, and I am excited to see what happens with this place in the near future. While cycling through this area, there was one unique building that caught my eye. This building looked like a cross between a spaceship and a seashell. It was located in the middle of a large complex, which seemed like it was only recently completed. All of the shops surrounding it were vacant. This building, though, despite its empty surroundings, seemed to be in full operation. 这是什么地方啊？
中医药博物馆。
哦，要给钱吗
？1楼免费参观，然后副楼、2楼、3楼、4楼是需要买门票。
哦，好的。So this is actually a museum on traditional Chinese medicine. Wow. This museum completely shocked me from the moment I entered its first exhibition. It was an immersive experience like no other museum I've been in before. the museum showcases the history of traditional Chinese medicine, starting with the Neolithic era and its development throughout the centuries. Each of the exhibits was incredibly well put together. It's hard for me to describe, but with each exhibit, I felt like I had become part of the history. Even if you aren't interested in traditional Chinese medicine, the museum was so visually stunning that simply exploring it would still be an enjoyable experience. So the top 2 floors of this museum were really cool. However, I think this is the 2nd floor or the 3rd floor? The 2nd floor? I don't get this one. Right now, I'm walking in an alien spaceship. You can see in front of me, they've got the bridge. They've got some controls here. The center console is down, but they've got this thing on the right. Looks like you can interact with this. And then over here they have a hallway leading to a different section of the ship. They've got all these like weird suits. Looks like they've got hydroponics too, so you can grow your plants on your ship. Looks like up above they got some typical earth vegetables, and then here, I think these are like alien plants that they're growing in here. Well, I don't know what I was expecting from this building, but I certainly was not expecting that museum. In my opinion, the quality of the exhibits is some of the best of all the museums I have been to in China. So I'm finally starting to get into the downtown area, and now I'm really seeing how impressive this area actually is. The buildings here are super modern. It might be one of the most modern skylines in China right now. I'm still going to head deeper into the city and see if it is truly a ghost town or if it has actually started to fill in over here. The scale of what China has built here is hard for my brain to grasp. This was a megacity that seemingly grew out of the ground overnight. In America, cities tend to expand incrementally. Neighborhoods grow, infrastructure follows, and demand leads development. Hengqin, by contrast, feels pre-constructed. Roads, towers, and commercial districts were all built before any people arrived. Researchers call it a symptom of under-occupied development, where cities are built years ahead of their human and economic activation. In fact, in a paper on new urban districts, scholars describe these places as metropolitan shells waiting for life to fill them. Hengqin's master plan pushes for integration with Macau and diversification of economic functions, including finance, technology, cultural tourism, and traditional Chinese medicine, all under the Guangdong-Macao in-depth cooperation zone framework. But walking through these blocks of steel, glass, and concrete, with silent lobbies and many buildings still under construction, it's quite obvious that demand hasn't quite caught up yet. It's not like this place is not being continually developed though. Like even as I enter into these like buildings that are halfway completed, you can still hear the machinery echoing throughout this space. So again, hopefully someday in the future, these places will be very impressive. So I just barely walked into a Century 21 to meet with one of the real estate agents, and I had a conversation about some of the property prices here, what it looks like to rent, what it looks like to buy. Now for renting these apartments, you can get a roughly 1,000 square foot apartment for 4,000 to 6,000 RMB per month, which is, it's $1,000 or less, $750 to $1,000. So it's not terrible, I would say, especially if you're living over in Macau. I think Macau rents are a little bit cheaper than Hong Kong, but Hong Kong rents are ridiculous. You know, we're paying roughly 2,000 USD for a tiny apartment. You know, we've got just about 300 square feet. So to think about the price difference, you know, you pay almost half of what we're paying and you get more than double the size. It sounds like a pretty good deal. However, when you think about some of the other areas in China, like downtown Zhuhai, for example, you can get apartments that are much cheaper than this. Like I think even in Guangzhou, you know, certain areas that are kind of far outside of the city center, sort of like this, you know, the apartments there are maybe 200 to 300, maybe $400 a month. So the value you get over there is a lot better, I would say. Whereas I feel like one of the main reasons why this hasn't filled in with people yet is because the property prices are just so high. Now, if you're gonna buy a property over here, it's pretty expensive. Like one of the properties that she pulled up on the screen when I was in there, it was over 1,000 square feet, but the price was like 500,000. Now again, that's a lot cheaper than Hong Kong or Macau, but compared to the rest of Zhuhai or other parts of, you know, Guangdong province, that's a really steep price. As empty as much of Hengqin feels today, it isn't a dead zone. Across those silent towers, there are neighborhoods that are already coming alive. In fact, over 16,500 Macau residents have already moved into Hengqin as of 2021, seeking a different kind of life beyond the casino bubble. Walk into one of those completed residential districts and the difference is striking. Shop fronts buzz with local life, cafes fill with chatter, streets hum with electric scooters, children walking after school. These new districts embody what many urban planners call modern China's urban ideal. Dense, yet legible, walkable infrastructure. There's a hierarchy of uses built in. Ground floor retail, mixed-use towers, green courtyards, and community nodes. It's not just about having a home, it's about living a life designed for tomorrow. So while Hengqin's skyline still feels unfinished in places, the seeds of real urban life are already growing. These neighborhoods show what this city could become. Not a ghost town, but a modern, livable city built ahead of its future. Anyway guys, I have a long way to go before I get back to Hong Kong. So I have to leave China, enter Macau, leave Macau, enter Hong Kong. It's probably going to take me at least 2 to 3 hours to get back home from here. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap up the video here. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you made it this far, please help me out. Click the like and subscribe button. And with all that said, I will see you in the next one.